Dear friends of the Tom Photo channel, great to see you here. Squirrels returned to my garden a few years ago. First, there were none, and then all of a sudden we had a large extended family. And this happened regardless of the fact that we got a cat, and the neighbors have been having a cat for years. On a very special morning, I saw so many squirrels at once that I've never seen anything like it around here before. This major gathering only lasted for a few moments and it never happened again. But naturally I started photographing these beautiful animals. Every time I'd see one in the garden, I would rush out of the door with my telephoto lens. The only way to catch them would be to have the camera ready and waiting right by the door, because the spectacle was typically over within a few minutes. Often I got back inside with nothing but an out-of-focus tail of a squirrel. This is how wild and scared the squirrels are around here. But often I got rewarded too. And when the babies were out, the rewards felt even greater. You see, baby squirrels are really cute. I always used my favorite Fujifilm X-T30 and the Fujinon XF 55-200mm lens at the extreme end of the telephoto. The aperture was maximally open at f-stop 4.8. I made sure that the image stabilization was on because there was never any time to set up the tripod. I would still avoid photographing completely handheld though. Whenever I could, I leaned against a tree or some other object to reduce camera shake. In these situations, it's good to use Beanie Babies for extra support if possible. I initially used aperture priority mode with automatic ISO and a lower limit for shutter speed. The only thing I modified was exposure compensation. Later, I switched to using the manual mode with automatic ISO. This let me fix the f-stop at 4.8 and shutter speed at around 200 to 500, and it made it very easy to change the shutter speed as needed. And I left the ISO at auto so it could jump around as it wished. I shot both the JPEG and RAW files to decide later which ones to actually use. The JPEG film simulation was standard most of the time. The camera was at single focus and I focused right at the center every time using one of the smallest focusing areas available. The squirrels were too fast for me to switch the focus position, so center focusing it was, and I made sure to focus on the closest eye. This often caused the squirrel to be in a suboptimal location in the picture. That was okay, because focusing mattered the most and I could always crop the photo to make the squirrel appear where I wanted it to. Since I didn't get too close to the squirrels, I always had enough room in the picture for cropping. In a few occasions when the squirrel was behind the branches, I resorted to manual focusing. This worked okay too, although my success rate was not as good as with the autofocus. The squirrels have an interesting feature. They run very fast and then they freeze for a while, as if to think about what to do next. These are the moments when you want to take a picture. Then you can get away with normal shutter speeds, dependent only on your focal length and the camera support. My main suggestion when photographing animals is to take many more pictures than seems necessary at the moment. Just refocus and press the shutter release and do it while you still have a chance. Because later when you sit in front of your computer looking at the photos, you'll discover that many photos were actually slightly out of focus or a bit blurry. It's great to be able to choose the sharpest from among 100 photos. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you liked my squirrels. If you feel like leaving a like or subscribing to my channel, that would be a perfect way to make me happy. See you soon. Goodbye.